This segment is brought to you by Terrebonne Ford, built Ford tough.
Welcome to Bayou Time. I'm Jacob D8. I'm glad to have us joining us via Zoom. We have Tim Mott, the Executive Director of St. Mary Parish Levee District. Thank you for joining us, Tim.
Happy to be here.
All right. I know it's springtime. We got some rising river activity with the Atchafalaya. Can you give us an overview of where we're at right now?
All right. Last week, there was a lot of talk about all of the rainfall in the Midwest and, warnings that those streams were going to be filling and an indication that water would be heading this way. Interestingly, we were really at, when all of this talk started, we were really at some pretty low river levels, in all honesty. We had about 4 days of really strong, and I'm sure y'all experienced the same thing, really strong south winds that pushed the water up. But with this little cold front that came through, the north wind pushed that water back out. So, around here, no indications at all of any kind of a flooding event on its way. But when you look at the forecast, you look at the projections, the water's coming. Cairo, Illinois, the convergence of the Ohio River and the Mississippi River have kind of it's crested up there in excess of 52 feet, I believe. And so that water is going to work its way down here. And it's actually going to be a really rapid rise. Included in that forecast for us is that by April the 20th or so, we should see a river level of 7 feet on the Atchafalaya River gauge here in Morgan City, in downtown Morgan City. That happens to be the trigger that we use for closing Bayou. And so we have initiated our planning and our response to that by notifying all the folks who live and work in that vicinity that the Bayou structure is going to be closed. And we have now scheduled that to start on Monday morning, 7 a.m. So Monday morning when we all, as the sun comes up, we'll get started on closing that structure. A couple reasons. It's actually a little bit earlier than what we would maybe on other circumstances do, but once the river starts to come up, the velocities start to get heavy, and that's a huge structure. And so the earlier we can close it does two things. And the main thing is, first, it's safer. Safer to close it in as slack of water as you can. And then number two, it's going to help us hold some of that water out and keep it out of the basin so that, there's no impacts of higher water on there. And it looks like the good news is at the same time, we'll have relatively dry weather. And so there won't be any ancillary impacts due to that.
Well, that certainly is good. It's not like, I guess, a regular flood control from tropical storms where you can wait for slack tide kind of, when you got that river going, it speeds up and it keeps going.
Now, the structure was built for riverine flooding, and
Yeah.
so this is exactly its application. And that is one of the challenges. When you initiate, the water's already coming up. And generally speaking, around here, that means those velocities are climbing. And so, yeah, we want to do it as safely as possible and make sure we don't have any impacts. So we're going to go ahead and get started first thing Monday morning. I think it'll be a good thing. The big question will be, hey, what's to come after that? Once we get it closed and sunk into place, the river starts to come up. The question about the how long will it last? Those are the ones we don't really have any information on yet at this time, and that'll happen as we get a little closer. I think the current prediction is for a true crest of 7.5 on the 26th or so. I'm not so sure though that that's just only as far out as the predictions go. And if they had a crystal ball that was a little clearer, who knows? The river could go higher than that, but it'll be probably into May if that were to occur.
Certainly. You never know when more storms are going to pop up north of you to where it can dump some more rain and keep that level up, I guess.
And
And
we did look at the forecast and just looking at radar, the prediction for radar in that same valley. The good news, I mean, there is rain in that valley. The good news, it was on your radar map, it was all green. Whereas a week ago, it was the big yellows and reds and purples and just,
exactly.
and in this case, it's much lighter stuff. So hopefully that impact will be much less.
And it's, can you tell, it's been a couple of years since it's been elevated. Can you tell us the last time y'all had to close it?
Well, we actually closed it for Francine.
That's true.
And that was based on the projected path, which was going to put the storm right at us here. In fact, just to the west of the Atchafalaya River, and instead it headed a little more to Terrebonne Parish,
Mhm.
and so it needed to be closed under that circumstance, but it had much less of an impact because of where the storm came ashore.
Oh, certainly, certainly. But 7.5, and last time, I guess, for high water for Riverine, you had in 2020 and 2019, of course, was a little bit bigger as well.
Yeah, we were looking at in the eights and a halves, and then what happened in both 16 and 19, the triggers were putting emergency structure in those cases with the fact that the Corps was planning to operate the Morganza floodway. And
Certainly, and we don't have that here. We're about
Yeah.
out of time, so I hate to cut you off, but luckily
nobody's
that's
mentioned Morganza, so yep. So, but that's the beauty of having the floodgate now is
Certainly.
we don't have to for the major event. We can close it.
all right. Thank you, Tim, for joining us, and thank you for
Thank you.
staying tuned. Stay
Thanks.
tuned right here on HTV.